Hello everyone, welcome to Advent Day 3. I'm going to jump straight into this one because this one looks a little bit harder than the previous two that I've looked at. I wanted to get this video out a little bit earlier on today, but I've had a bit of a busy day. So this is the end of the day and it's time to get down to some programming. So I've had a look at this problem previously to recording this video, and I've had a bit of a think about it, and I've actually changed my mind a couple of times about how I'm going to approach it. But I'm going to load in the large set of data which I've got here, and I need to first of all recognize where the numbers are. So once I've discovered the numbers, I'm then just going to treat the large set of data like a matrix. So I'm going to load it into like a 2D array probably, and then I will check around the individual digits to see if there is a symbol that's adjacent to it. Now this 4 here has got a symbol adjacent to it, so I have to also check diagonally. When I find a number that's got that, I'll add it to the total, and that will form the answer. So let's get going, and we'll see. I've got a new mu screen ready. I like mu, it's pretty straightforward IDE, and it looks good, and it's got quite a few nice features to it which make it quite useful. So I'm going to start off with file open input.txt. It's going to be the same pretty much in every program, it looks like, and I'm just going to loop through each line for line in file. And first of all, let's just print the lines out just to make sure that I've got everything in place correctly. There we go. So I am now going to go through it, and I'm going to look to see where each individual digit lies. So I need to go through every individual character within, or every individual part of each line, and I'm going to check to see if it is digit. If it is, then I am going to check to see if it's followed by another digit. If it is followed by another digit, then I will start constructing a little string as soon as I come to the end of said digit, and I can tell that when I reach something which isn't digit, then I will know that I have found a numerical value. So that's quite easy to do. All I'm going to do is I'm going to say let's go through. So for, let's call it character in a line, if character dot is numeric, then I will add it to my little string of characters. So let's say for each line I am going to I'll create a new empty string here which I will call num. It's going to be a string to begin with, and if it is numeric, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to num. So num is going to be num plus whatever the character is there. Now if it is not, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that I have come to the end of an individual number. So I need to know if I'm currently looking at a number, or if I am looking at a non-numerical value, like a symbol, which could be one of the symbols which specifies one of the parts that I need to look for, or it could be that it specifies a dot, in which case I ignore the dots. I am going to say for character in line, if the character is numeric, I'm going to add it to that value. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I can just say if the last value was a number, because each line doesn't start with a numerical value, does it? It's only the first one does, but I don't believe that every single line does. So I am going to say if the last character was a numerical value. So I'm going to create I'm going to create a boolean, and the boolean is going to be called found number, and I'm going to start off with false. So if I discover a value and the current found, or I'm going to say I've found a number, is going to be equal to true, because it doesn't matter if I've found it for the first time or this is the last time that I found it. Now, if I come across a dot at any given point, I'm going to say if found number is equal to true, then, or I could just say if found number, that would work as well. If found number is going to be equal to true, then what I'll do just for now is I'm going to print num, and then I'll reset num to be an empty string to begin with. Let's see what that does. That's done something. It's produced as expected, as I was hoping it was going to do. It's found all the numbers for me. Now it has produced quite a vast amount of empty lines. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I believe this might have worked. So I'll scroll right to the top. So 48 would be the first value there, 501, and I believe that that is the correct set of data. Get your puzzle input, yeah, 58, 501. So I think it seems to be leaving a new blank line for every time I've got a dot. So if found number is true, then I'm going to print number. It doesn't seem to, have I got another print statement in there at all? I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I want to zoom in to make it a little bit easier for my text to appear on the video. I'm not really sure whether or not it's going to make it easier for me to write the program. So if found number is true, then print num. To be honest, I'm not really that bothered that it's outputting all those blank lines in between. I'm sure there's a logical reason why it happens. I just can't bother to think about it at the moment, and it doesn't really matter because I'm going to hide that input. So anyway, I've found each individual number. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to check. As I've found a numerical value, I need to check whether or not any digit which is adjacent to it, I'm going to check to see if it is a character. Now, the characters could be, one way that I could do this is I could just determine all the different possible characters that are in there. So it looks like I've got and symbols, I've got hash symbols, I've got forward slashes. Is there anything else? Equals. Is it basically anything from the top row of the keyboard? Dollar signs, yeah, it looks like it's going to be. So one thing that I could do is I could say if it is any of those digits from the top of the keyboard, apart from the dot isn't on the top of the keyboard, is it? And there's an @ sign as well on my Mac. That's on the top row, but not necessarily on a normal Windows computer in the UK, at least. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do it the opposite way around. I'm going to say I want to basically look for any symbol that isn't numeric or isn't a full stop. So let's make it. I'm going to make a function to do this because it's something I'm going to need to call upon quite a lot, and it's going to be a bit tidier if I do it. So let's make a function at the top because that's what you do in Python. Let's say define check for symbol. That'll do, and I will take the character as the input, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if if basically if character dot is numeric is equal to false, and character is not equal to a dot, then I'm going to return true, else then I'll return false. So all that is doing is checking to see if it is not numeric, and if it is not a full stop, then it will return true or false. So once I've found a number, as I say, I've set number back to 0 there. I want to, before I reset number back to 0, all I want to do is I just want to double check that I have not got a digit above it, below it, to the left of it, to the right of it, or diagonal. So I'm going to make a boolean, which is going to be something like contains symbol, or as adjacent symbol. Well, I'm going to call it contains symbol, and I'll start off with that being false. So I'm going to say if found number then I'm going to basically check all of the values around it. So the easiest way to do that, I guess, is to take its position in my array. I've not actually loaded this into a 2D array yet, so I'm going to need to go back and do that, aren't I? Because at the moment I'm still just reading it from the file. That's a little bit annoying, and it shouldn't be too much of a change really to my code. I'm going to, let's see, for line in file, I'm going to do this slightly differently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make at the very start a list which is going to be called data, and it's going to be a blank list, and for every line in file all I'm going to do is I'm going to say list dot append line, and then this whole bit of code is going to go back onto a new margin back there, because I'm just going to nudge it back one place. If found, let's put that there so that makes sense, and that's going to be for each character in line. Oh no, I probably do need to go back here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to loop through this numerically. Okay, I do probably need that to be back in the position it was in, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through the list. It's not list.append, is it? It's what did I call the value? Data.append. Well, I did want that to be back, so I'm actually See, Python is not the language that I would choose to program in if I were doing this myself, but I'm doing it for the benefit of other people seeing it. I'm going to do this in Python. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through this, but I'm going to use the index to do it. So I want to say for I in range, I want to start with 0, and I want to go up to the length of data. So len of data minus 1. Oh no, sorry, it's exclusive, that top value, isn't it? So it's got to the len of data, and then this one is going to be for I equals 1 j in range of 0 to the len of data. Oh, now I've just remembered this does. Python does something a bit weird, doesn't it, with the len of a two-dimensional array. Does Python not, does len of the two-dimensional array not the every single part of it in Python? So it will think that goes out of bounds. So if I've got 10 sets of data and I've got 10 items in each one, it's going to try and count up to 100. Okay, so I need to have a little count up there, so count. I'm not sure if that's what happens, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the code do that just in case, because I don't want to run that and test it and see and something not happen. But at least this way I'm going to be sure of it. So all I'm doing is I'm going to just count, see how many rows I've got, and I'm just going to loop up to count there, and then I should be able to just get every single value there. So character, this is actually going to be a data part I, part j. That's my character there. So let's first of all please run that and check to see. I've got a problem. I've got a valid bit of syntax. That's because I have missed a colon off the end of that there. No, nothing happened. I've got no code, so I've got no output, sorry. So therefore I can assume that something I've done has not worked. So let's just quickly get a couple of bits of information just to show if that's happening there. Let's just print the output account, see what happens. Boom, found 140, and every time I append a line, let's just print then data part count, and that should print the last line that happens. So that looks like it works. I've got all 150 lines there. So for each iron range 0 up to count, I'm going to get that there. All I want to do is just want to print data part I part j. So that works. That did get every individual digit. So if data part I part j is numeric, oh it did, sorry, long day, I took that print out there, didn't I? So I just want to print none. Right, that's done exactly what it had done previously. So let's have a look at my value, which I have got here. Oh, I know why that kept printing that out there, because if I found a number and I get back to there, I want to print num, and I also want to set found number back to false because I'm done with the number. There you go, and that'll get rid of those spaces in between. It's just as well I remember that, because that would cause me a problem later on. So now I know I've done that, I can go and check each individual value that is around it. Now that is as straightforward as subtracting 1 from that value and then checking it again with 1 added to that value, and then doing it again with 1 subtracted from that value and 1 added to that value, and then I'm going to do it with 1 subtracted from both. Basically I'm just going to work through all the possible combinations. It's probably going to be a bit messy way of doing it, but I've got a lovely little function which is going to do it for me. So if I found the number, every time I am looking at a number and I know that I'm looking at a number, all I'm going to do is I'm going to check the data that is around it. So I've got contain the symbol false. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say if, and let's just copy this. So data I minus 1 first of all is equal to, and there's going to be a bit of a problem. So if I'm looking at the top row and I subtract 1 from that value, it ain't going to work, it's going to crash. So there's a couple of ways that I can get around that. I wonder if I can just stick it in a big try and catch, and if it doesn't work then perhaps it will just let it bypass it, and if it does work then maybe it'll work. The other way I can do it is I will only subtract 1 from it if I am looking at a row which is greater than 0. So if I is not equal to 0, then I'll subtract 1. Let's have a look and see what happens there. So if I is minus 1 is, and I actually want to check for symbol, so I don't want to do any equals, I just want to check to see if that is a symbol. If it is a symbol, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to say contain the symbol is equal to true. And actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just paste this, and I'm going to do my different combinations where I minus 1. So I'm going to do j plus 1. I'm going to do I minus 1, j minus 1 there. So they're the possible combinations where I is equal to minus 1. So what I want to do is I want to say if I is and I is greater than 0. So I only want to do it when I am able to do it, and I only want to do that if I is greater than 0, and also I want to do that if and I is greater than 0, and I only want to do that if j is greater than 0 as well, and I only want to do that if j is less than whatever the maximum value for j is. So I don't know how wide each of these sets of data are, so I'm just going to do len of data part I. I'm sure I could just work that out, but it's going to that's going to do the same thing there. So they won't crash now. Let's get the other combinations for when I've got I plus 1, and I plus 1. And I'm going to do that for j plus 1 as well, and j minus 1. So I want to do this if I is less than the length of, is less than count for I, isn't it? So if it's less than count, and that one is if I is less than count, then I believe that the j can just remain the same, and I want to only do that if I is less than count, and we can just ignore j because we are looking at j itself. I think that is going to suffice for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run that and see if there's a crash, which there is. There's a list index out of range. So check for symbol data when I is equal to this row there, I plus and j. If I is less than count, because I'm adding 1 to it and I'm trying to retrieve a value there. So maybe what I want to do is you know what I'm going to do? This is not right. This is a bit messy, but I know it's going to get rid of it quickly. I'm going to first of all check if I is less than count. Then if it is, then I'm going to do it. So I'm going to check that value there. Let's see if that bypasses that problem there. I plus j. It's still done it there, isn't it? If it's less than count minus 1, maybe. Aha, so that was my issue there. That should be less than count minus 1. So let's go back to there and see count minus 1. I'm probably going to end up going back to where I was a second ago. Yeah, right. That's a little bit annoying that that's the case. So I'm going to do this here. If I'm going to put those, I'm going to specify these values here. If I is less than count minus 1, then I'll do that there. So that one is going to be if it's got to be an easier way to do it than this, but I can't think of it in a minute, and I'm trying to do it as fast as I can. So if let's see if that bypasses all those issues there. That seems to have gotten past issues and it hasn't crashed. So if it contains a symbol, I didn't get any problems there, did I? It was interesting. But either way, I am going to, if it contains a symbol, then by the end of it, I'm going to take the value of num. So if contains symbol, then first of all I'm going to set contains symbol back to false, ready for the next one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new variable which is called total, which is there, and I'm going to say total equals total plus the integer cast of whatever the value of num is there, and I'll just print at the end of it the value of total. So if I run that, I get 444545. There's a very pretty looking number. 444545. There's no way that's correct, is it? That's not the right answer. The answer's too low. Make sure you're using full input data. There's also some general tips on the about page. I don't want the general tips. I want to just do the solution. So if found number, so I know that the input's going to be too low in this case. Now, do I know that I am finding all of the data values correctly over here? So I'm just going to change this a little bit here. So if I is greater than 0, then I'm going to do that there. If I is greater than run it and say it's giving me the same value, isn't it? Which I thought it might do. So do I know that I am actually looking at every single row? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out, just for a little bit of feedback. Let's take this value out from here and let's print out any value which I find. So let's print whatever the value of num is there. So this is my set of values that I've found. I found 501 first of all. So let's get up set of data and let's see what I've got. So 501, that's correct. It should then have found as its next value 948. What did I find? I found 7. Oh no, that's correct. 313. So it looks like it's kind of worked. It has worked, hasn't it? Now, let's go and look at the very bottom row. I wonder if the bottom row is the one where the issue lies. No, it's found them. Did it find 98? Did it find it if the value appears at the end of it? I wonder if that's what it didn't find. So let's find the first instance of that, and then we can just go and find it. So 948. It should have found 948. It did find 948. I'm sure it found 948. There we go. That's the one I haven't found. So I've not found it for the case where it's got that value immediately after it. It goes 863, 980, and then the next one it should have found was 948, but it skipped 948 and it's gone straight. Oh no, I bet I found 948. 491, 842, and it skipped 948 and it's gone to 388. So I've not found any when I've got a value immediately after it. So what I need to do is, as soon as I've found the number, I basically need to see if it contains a symbol. So if the value that I'm currently looking at, so let's just quickly do that here. Let's say if check for symbol, I bet this will resolve it here. Contain symbol is equal to true. Right, let's save that. Let's run that. Has that found 948 this time? 948, there we go, we found that value there. So actually, if I comment that out there and I print that, I wonder if that's going to find me the right value. 479096. 479096. 479096. Submit. That's not the right answer. The answer's too low, so I bet it doesn't find it if I've got a value which is as the number, as the input coming before it as well. So for example, 186. Now I don't know in mu how easy it is for me to. Can I run a little search inside there? 186. Let's see if I do 672. No, it doesn't let me find those values in there. Let's say if I found the number, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to check the value that came immediately before it. So that is where I is. Oh, do you know what I haven't done? I've not done any case where I is equal to when I is I. Idiot. Right. Let's take that out with a comment to begin with. There's only 2 cases for this. I did think it was weird that there were 6 cases, but I chose to just ignore my hunch. So if check symbol is quite straightforward, is if I is equal to I, if the value I is just I itself, sorry, then I'm going to set that value there, and I'm also going to do it for that value when I'll do j plus 1, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say if that is true, and for this one I'm going to say if that is true as well. So if basically I'm allowed to do it if I'm in range, should we say, then I'll set the value to be what I need it to be. Let's see if that's found 948 first of all. Oh yeah, that's found 948. This has got to be right, surely. 522978. We've gone up in the counting values, haven't we? 522978. Submit. That's not the right answer. The answer's too high. I must have some duplicate values in there. So, when might I have found a duplicate value? So let's have a look and see. I'm only interested to see if I have a I'm only interested to see if I have a value which is touching one of the digits. It doesn't matter if it's touching more than one digit. For example, I can't see one quickly off the top of my head, but it could well be that there you go, not 940. That's not doing such a thing, but a value could well be adjacent to two things at a time, and that shouldn't matter as long as it's adjacent to just one of them. Then we are interested in counting it. So let's just see if I've got all the possible cases. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And maybe what I want to do is take that one out. So checking for the value j after, then just put that one back in. Five two two nine seven. That's giving me the same number again. 522978. Did I type it in correctly? I did, didn't I? Please wait 5 minutes before trying again. Oh. Let's go. If the data is numeric, then I'm going to set found number to be true. Contains symbol. So if it does contain a symbol, does it find the very last value? Is that my problem? So print, let's just print a total of my value there. So let's just go back through the data and just check some of the sort of strange cases for things that could be getting counted. Why would it be counting things twice? So 827, it should be counting, that's correct. 944, it should be counting. 964, it should be counting. 976, 383, 192. Now, to be honest, it doesn't seem to be making any errors. There could be a problem there, couldn't it? Have I got a problem where I've got data that are adjacent to one another? It's 250, 461. Have I read the values correctly? Every other number is adjacent to a symbol, so it is a part number. That's the sum. Sum of all the part numbers, eh? Da, da, da. Let's find 776 in there. So 776 looks like it's worked correctly. The next number it should have found after 776 should be... Now, actually, I'll tell you what, where there could be problems. For example, 571. But it's found too many, isn't it? Now, is there anything where it's found it on the end? Like 193. Sorry, 139. Sorry, did it find 139 on the end of value? Let's find the value 702, for example. 702's got a value there. So actually, if I work backwards from there, I should have 251, 162. I should have 637. It's got 223 is in there. There, 223, that should be there, that's correct. 515, 406. 628 is the one that comes immediately after that. 628. It should have found 628. That's correct. So it has found ones where they exist on the edge. What I'm trying to determine is whether it's counting anything erroneously. It's found that one there. It's found a single 9. Where's that value on there? The single value 9. Yeah, it should have found a single value 9. That looks like that's absolutely fine to me. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this and come back to it. Because it's getting late and I've hit a bit of a dead end. I'm not going to look at any hints or anything. What I might try and do is I might try and rewrite my program from scratch. So hang on, the number 1 appears like quite early on there, doesn't it? Let's just quickly check this out. Is it finding a single digit value? You think it would be because it's finding 1 and 4, so it finds 1, and then it should find 4. Correct, but you think it would be because it appears to be over counting. It appears to be counting numbers that are too high. Has it picked up something that it thinks is a numerical value that isn't numerical? So this data is equal to is numeric. I think the problem might be when a line starts with a dot. So what I'm going to do for every new line, there might be like a weird case where it doesn't reset the value of number, so it gets to the end of the line and then number doesn't get reset because there is no final value for it to be reset. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually at the start of every line just going to reset number. So it might be finding a number which finishes there and starts on the next line. I bet there's like one case where it happens. I can't see it. There, I bet you it reads that as 998, and then it reads this number as 9981511. Sorry, but it happens to be that it's adjacent to a value. There you go, 240. I bet you then it reads 240377. So if I scroll down, can I see any like enormous number? Do you know what I'm going to do just to see if that happens there? I'm going to say print num if the len of num is greater than 3, then I'll print num. Well, that hasn't found any value. But there might be something. It could be the case where it's like finishes with a 2-digit number and then the next digit is a 1-digit number or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reset the value of num at the start of every line as well. So if I save that and run that, I get exactly the same value. Oh dear, right, okay, I'm stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this here because that is 42 minutes of watching me struggle at what I assume is very close to the solution. I'll have a little think about it and I will come back to it, and I might post, or I will post a solution to it once I get a bit of an idea about where I've gone wrong. Yeah, there's going to be like some strange case in there which is there to catch me out. I wonder how many people have got the same solution as me though, and have also not found the thing which is there to trick you out. Tricky little problem, but good fun. So hopefully you enjoyed watching that. I guess that was quite a lengthy affair that time. You may have learned something, you may not have learned something, you may have learned what not to do, who knows. But check back tomorrow or the next day most likely, because I'm probably not going to get time to record tomorrow, but I will upload the next few set of videos together over the next few days. So thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.